Hey there, this is Peyton here with Profit Daylight, and on this new video I want to talk about box model. Is a very basic and important concept when it comes on to web design, not only with WordPress but in general. Box model is very important and we need to understand how it works in order to be able to design things inside of Elementor. So definitely Elementor has, we can also use box model inside Elementor. Box model is talking about borders, pattern, and margin. So you will most likely need to practice a little bit over this subject, but I hope that I can explain you in a practical way that you will be able to understand fast. So with that said, just before we go into the content of this video, let's go ahead and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'll be posting more and more videos about Elementor, and let's just cover the subject on this video today. So if you just go over to Google and you type box model, you'll actually see box model. Okay, so you'll actually see a lot of information regarding box model. Is that something that I have invented? Just go over the images. For example, I'm not going to go into details exactly on every piece of components because that is not my objective. I want to show it to you in a practical way. I want you to be able to quickly go into Elementor and just learn whatever you have to learn regarding the borders, the pattern, and the margin, and move on. But if you come over to Google, as I said, and you type box model, you come over to the images tab, you will see a bunch of explanations about box model. Necessarily, none of them says WordPress, but you know, they will say CSS, some of them are in Spanish, some of them in English. It all depends. But let me just explain, just choose one of them and maybe explain a little bit what we are going to do. So here on this one, let me just go ahead and click on it. I have no idea who is the owner of this image. I'm not going into the website, but I want to explain a little bit here. So in the center, we have a rectangular box that says element content. And then we have some, we have like another rectangular box that is above or outside that one. It says pattern. And we have another rectangular image with the word border, and then we have another one that says margin. So it's just so that you can keep in mind a little bit how you're going to work with this inside of Elementor. So inside the green area where I'm moving my mouse here, element content is typically the elements or the widgets that you will be adding inside of Elementor. So above that element space, you can actually add some pattern, and you can actually have a border or add a border to the element or the widget, and you can also add some margin. So let's just go ahead and get some hands-on and see it in a practical way. The best way for me to learn these things is by seeing how it works with things that are already, you know, ready-made. For that reason, I'm going to come over here. Just this is a clean Elementor post. I have nothing here right now. I'm going to come over to here to add template, and I'm going to come over to blocks. And now I am going to come over to the drop-down menu, and I'm going to look for archive. Well, let me see. There I look for about. Let's see. Okay, for about. Now I'm going to select one of these images to explain you better the concept of border, pattern, and margin. Let me just go ahead and select this one, and I'm going to hit insert. So while I wait for it to be inserted, now it comes up here, and let's just go through this exercise and explain and understand a little bit what border, pattern, and margin is. So we have several elements inside of this section. We have spoken about columns and sections and elements on a previous video. If you want, you can go ahead and look it up somewhere up here. So you, by this time, you should already know what a section is. Inside a section, we have one column, we have two columns, we have three columns, and inside a column, we also have different elements. So in this case, I touch this one here, and it says that is a text editor. And if I touch the other one, it says that it's a heading. So right now, I'm just going to click outside here. If you look at the heading title, it says alternate gallery slide. So this is an element, but it does not have any type of border. Let's just go ahead and put a border around this title. It's probably not going to be beautiful, but it's just to explain how it works. So I'm going to touch the element, in this case the heading, and I will come over to the advanced tab. Okay, let me just close this down here a little bit. I click on the properties. I'm going again. I click on the element, then I come over to the properties of the element. I came to the third property, which is the advanced tab or property. And now it opens up a drop down or several drop downs. And the first one is advanced and so on and so on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just close this down to show you where I'm going to work. I'm going to be working here on the this drop down, which says border. Right now, this is the first part, the border. So I open up border, and what we want to do is to add a border around this. If you remember the image that we saw earlier, there is a border in orange, an orange border around the elements, which is in green, and then there is a pattern between. But right now we are just talking about the border. So let's come back here, and what we want to do is to add a border. So it says border type, and we're just going to hit the drop down, and I'm going to select solid. And as I put solid, you will see, well, it's not going to appear immediately because I need to enter another value below. But border type, solid, and now width, I can put numbers here in these 4 boxes. If you look on the last box, it says link values together. That's actually functions that are inside Elementor where you can change the values of these boxes and they will all change together. So if I put 5 in the first one that says top here, then the right one will be 5 and the bottom one will be 5 and the left one will be 5. If this link values together is on or enabled. If I disable it or touch it like this, then I'm able to enter values individually inside these boxes. But I am going to leave it together, which is gray, not enable for this example. So I have already put a solid border, but I have not seen anything around the heading. So let's go ahead and select a number. I'm going to put 5 so you can clearly see that there is a change. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So as you can see, there is a gray border. Let me just go ahead and remove it so that you can see the difference. Okay. So I put 5, and you can see a border came around that the header. Now, if you wanted to remove all values one time, you need to enable this value here. Actually, it's like a padlock. You need to enable it, and you can just select one of the values and hit the space bar, and it's going to actually delete all of them. So that's just a quick way to delete everything immediately. So again, I'm going to just enter number 5 here, and it's going to enter 5 for all of them. And let's just add a color to the border so that you can see it well. I'm coming down here to color, and I am going to select, let's put yellow so that you can see it well. It's still down here in black, so I'm just going to drag this up here, and I'm going to put it there, and now it's pretty clear. So I have added, let me just click outside here, I have added a yellow border around the heading. All right, so now what we want to do, I'm going to add some padding to the same heading, and I'm going to select the element again, and I'm going to come over here to, I'm still under the advanced box. So I'm just going to close this down. I'm going to come here to the advanced drop down, and I'm going to add some pattern just to see what's going to happen, okay? And I'm going to, again, the concept is the same. If I disable it, I can add values individually. If I enable it, I can add values together. So I'm just going to start entering values here by clicking on 0, and look what happens inside of the box. So that is padding. If I come back over here to my image, I can see that padding is like a space. So yeah, basically padding and margin are space, like empty space or clear space that you will add inside your elements. Padding and margin are empty space that you will add inside or around your elements. So I definitely don't want that as 91. Let me just go ahead and select it, and I'm going to touch the space bar to remove everything. I can actually, let's put 20 to see what it looks like. 20. So that will be pattern number 20. Let's say, for example, I wanted to just add some pattern to the left. What I will do, I will just disable this box here and look for left, top, right, bottom, left. I'm going to add a pattern of 10 to the left to see what it looks like. See, so there you go. If I just want to add some pattern now to the bottom, I can go ahead and do that too. And you can actually add whichever value the way you want. So basically pattern is a way so that you can add some space, in this case, between the element and the border, okay? Between the element and the border. Let me just go ahead and remove that there, and I'm gonna remove the other one too. All right, so now let's look at these boxes here. These boxes actually are columns. So this is a column here, and this is another column here too. Now, what we want to do is to show that these, if I come over here to advance, it already has a pattern of 35. So by touching on the column, I can clearly see evidently that is a column, and it says that it has 35 in pattern. Let's remove that to see what happens. What is the behavior inside of this this column? So I am going to remove or delete the pattern, and let's see what's the behavior. 1, 2, 3. So there you go. The image is now stretched, or it's actually, yeah, it's right above the imaginary border that the column has. So that is probably the reason why they put what it was, 35, I believe it was. I think it was 35. So you can see that inside this column, they already had a pattern, and it creates a space around, or yeah, it creates a space around the image. Likewise, if I come over here to this other column, and I come over here to the advanced property of that column, I can also see it has 35 in pattern. Let's just go ahead and decrease that. Let me just put 5, and you see everything is just going to the edge and to the top and to the bottom. Let me just go ahead and put it back to 35, and you're seeing the changes here live. So that is basically pattern. Now let's add another element down here and see if we can replicate that a little bit. So I'm going to add, let me just hit here, add new section. I'm going to add a spacer. Oh, let me just select the, oh, that's fine. I have a spacer here. I already added the spacer. I'm going to just put, let's say 100. That's fine, dear. 100 to have a space between the top section and the bottom section. I am now going to add, just going to create a new section there, and I'm going to add an image. So I'm dragging an image inside this section here, And what I want to do is to add an image to that to that image. Let's just go ahead and use this one here. So I'm adding an image. Okay, and perhaps let me just select another one. Okay, you can clearly see the difference. Let me just select this umbrella, see if it works. Yep, this one is a little better. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put some padding on this just to illustrate this. So here there is a column and there is a pattern around. As we saw, it has 35 and it creates a space between the image and the imaginary border of this column. But here I have the column is here, edit column, and the image is just right to the top. So let's see if I can add some padding to this column. What I will do, I will just come to the advanced tab. It has no padding, and I'm just going to add 35 as well to see what happens. All right, so as I add the 35, you can see there is a change, and I can actually just, all right, probably you can see it a little better right now. And if I continue to add more padding, so I have more space from the top of the border. So that was just to, I'm going to remove it. That was just to explain a little better what or how the padding works. Now, that was the second one. So the first thing was border, then padding. Now we're going to go ahead and add margin. I'm just going to delete this. And I'm going to add margin, which is another way to add space. So here is an image, and here is a text, an image and a text. So we are going to add some margins, or I'm going to add margin somewhere here. In this case, it's going to have to be either on the top border of this heading or on the bottom border of this image. So you will see what I'm going to, how I'm going to work that now. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to touch the image and I'm going to go back to the advanced tab. And if you notice, there is no value here. There's no value. So if I just start to enter values here, let's see what happens. So by entering values, I can see that there's definitely a change. All right, there's definitely a change. What we wanted to do is to add some space between the image and the text. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to unlock this feature. And since we are talking about the image, I'm going to go to bottom and I'm going to start entering a margin. And as you can see, there is space that is being created only on the bottom, okay? Only at the bottom. Likewise, I can touch the text editor, come over to edit, and now I'm going to add some space, but to the top of the text editor because it's between two elements. So the margin will be, the space that I want to add will be between two elements, adjacent elements actually. So I come to my text editor, I come over to advanced, I unlock these values, and I'm going to add to the top, I'm going to add some numbers or some margin. So let's see what it looks like. All right, so that's basically all there is to it. It's not difficult. Sometimes it could be a little tricky depending on what you're doing. And as I said, one of the ways that I learned Elementor was to actually just come inside Elementor and add different blocks and just started to play with elements. I used to go property by property and I used to replicate or try to replicate exactly what I saw. It was easier for me to start learning that way, but this concept is pretty important in website design box model. So you might want to go ahead and review that a little bit, and just add elements, add pattern and borders and margins, and I'm pretty sure that you will get dominate that subject. So I just wanted to appreciate the time that you have given me by watching this video. If the content was valuable, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I will greatly appreciate that, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching my video today, and have a wonderful day.